Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Monday, October 23rd, 2017. Looking at the precipitation over the past 2 weeks, much of the Great Basin has been well below normal. You can see this image on the right showing how precipitation compares to normal. Much of the area is below normal with the exception of portions of Idaho. With much lower than normal precipitation, there is not much in the way of snow cover across the Great Basin. You can see a few areas with snow cover, mainly the Uintas in Utah, as well as the higher elevations of Idaho and Wyoming. The satellite this morning shows high pressure building over the western part of the Great Basin, with a storm system moving over the top of this ridge and another to the northeast of the area. So for today, we do have that high pressure building across the western part of the Great Basin. With that high pressure in place, we will see portifair mixing across the western areas, with better mixing further east, where we have that increased northerly flow. And looking at that in a little more detail, you can see the transport winds across the eastern part of the area are a little elevated, and so that does explain the better mixing across the eastern part of the area. And there are also better mixing heights further east as well. As we move into Tuesday, that high pressure continues to build across the Great Basin with those portifair ventilation indices spreading further north and east across the area. On Tuesday, really the only areas with elevated transport winds will be across the far southern part of the Great Basin, and we will see a decrease in mixing heights across pretty much the entire area on Tuesday. This trend continues into Wednesday. We will continue to see a decrease in the ventilation index across the entire area on Wednesday. Although we are seeing that high pressure beginning to break down with this system dropping into the northeastern part of the Great Basin. And again, just looking at that in more detail, really the driving factor behind the continuing decline in mixing heights is, or in ventilation indices, are those lower mixing heights across the entire area. So looking at the Utah Forecast Clearing Index for the next 3 days from the Salt Lake National Weather Service office, you can see that same general trend reflected with the decreasing mixing moving into Wednesday. Over the next 3 days, it should be no surprise that there's not much in the way of precipitation with that high pressure in place across the Great Basin. On Thursday, we will see the high pressure rebound. We will see a bit of improvement in the ventilation indices across the southern and eastern part of the areas, but those ventilation indices will remain in that portifair category further north and west. Again, high pressure continues to build into Friday with that decrease in ventilation indices on Friday. And a pretty similar trend on Saturday, though there could be some improvement across the eastern part of the Great Basin, which is a little closer to the higher airflow. Finally, on Sunday, we continue that decline into lower ventilation indices across pretty much the entire Great Basin, as high pressure does remain in place across the area. And the 4 to 5 day period continues to be quite dry, little to no precipitation expected across the area in that 4 to 5 day period. And finally, looking at the 14-day outlook, this time it looks like we will continue to see above normal temperatures into the 14-day period, as well as precipitation at or below normal across the entire area with the exception of western and southwestern Nevada. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thank you.